Recording in progress.
All right. Good evening, everyone. According to my clock, I have 6:01, so I will call the meeting to order. So this is a hybrid meeting being held in person at Village Hall and online via Zoom. The link to the Zoom meeting is at the top of the agenda. We do have a quorum, and the agenda was properly posted. So with that, this is the public's opportunity to speak. I know we do have one individual in the room that will be part of a future agenda item here, but looking on Zoom, I do not see anyone on Zoom, so we'll move forward to our next agenda item, which is discuss and consider minutes from the May 20th, 2026 Library Board meeting.
I move that the minutes be approved.
Second.
Motion by Lisa, second by Megan. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, moving on. Our next item here on our new business is discuss and consider the fall 2026 MOU with E.D. Locke Public Library, aka Monona. So the MOU is attached to the agenda here. Couple comments in regards to it is pretty much the exact same MOUs as we have seen in the past to offer story times on the first and third Friday mornings, which one of them is usually a Zumbini as well. And the cost is $100 per item.
Just to clarify, I think you said Monona, but you meant McFarland.
Did I say Monona? McFarland. Geez, thank you.
Nope, that's fine.
Tells you the day I've had so far. So yes, this is with E.D. Locke Library in McFarland.
I move that we approve this motion as written.
Second?
All right. Motion by Megan, second by Ally. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Okay, so with that, I am going to move on to the next item, discuss the 2027 All Community Read collaboration. And we have a guest that I will invite up to. You feel free to stand or sit, whatever works for you. Again, to turn on the mic, you hit the person icon, Rob. So again, this is Robin, who's part of the Friends of the Library group here, and I'll allow her to introduce herself in a second. But again, the background for this is, if you can believe it, we have to start thinking about the All Community Read. So this past year we had it in February, and that worked out well to the point where not only has the Friends group, but then the library board in our discussion after that decided this is something we want to keep doing at this time frame moving forward. So with that in mind, I have a memo which really is just, the idea behind it is to provide some background, but really the key discussion topics on some decisions that we need to think through as part of this. Again, this is not all encompassing. This is just for me to put something out there to form discussions in there. So if you can think of other things outside of this list, by all means, please do. But again, this is just a primer for the discussion in there. So with that, I will turn it over to Robin to see if you have anything else you want to add and to introduce yourself if you would like as well.
Thanks for having me. JP said, I'm Robin Smeckle, president with the Friends of the Cottage Grove Library, and we have really just enjoyed this partnership for the last few years of planning the community read and hosting that for our community. And so we are here at the planning stages to think about our next book and author. Previously, we have hosted a Wisconsin author, and we would like to keep doing that. There's lots of Wisconsin authors, and I think supporting our local authors is a nice thing to do for our community reads.
Great. So with this, again, as I kind of alluded to earlier, we, in the library board in past discussions, said we wanted to keep that February-ish timeframe in there. So again, just want to be absolutely sure that's something that this board will want to continue doing. And really for this, like in terms of timing, just broad scopes, because then we can narrow down and figure out with the selected author about what's in there. Other items to be kind of discussed is venue. So this past program we've had, it actually past few has been at Granite Ridge GRS school up in their library, which has worked out pretty well, especially now that we've had the speaker with the mics that really kind of helped turn that space in there as well. But then as Robin mentioned, we have to start thinking about what kind of authors or directions, and for this is where Monica, among others, can start really looking into potential authors. So if you have one in mind, we can definitely look at that, or direction in like the genre or type of book that we would want to bring in with the authors. And then any other kind of direction we want to give to Monica to kind of start the research process, and then she'll work in collaboration with the Friends of the Cottage Grove Library group as well. So with that, what are your thoughts?
I had one thought. I know that as my daughter gets older, we really enjoy reading books together. So I wonder, I know that we did, Bird. Laura Bird. Yes.
Bird.
I was thinking maybe like a young adult book that like multi-generations could read and then discuss together and kind of introduce them to like what an author talk is, and I don't know, learn more about the process of writing.
I love that idea too. We have talked in years past on adding a community read for the middle grade readers, not really substituting this one. We love doing something for the adults in the community because you guys do such a nice job providing so many youth programs that we like doing this one for the adults. But we are very open to continuing discussing adding that middle grade community read. We love that idea. We have talked about a few authors. I'm not sure. There's lots of Wisconsin authors, so like choosing one is always kind of difficult, and finding that genre or that sweet spot of what would be interesting to a large portion of our community. And so I spoke with the Friends Board, and we have a few authors that we think might be interesting just as a starting point. And I also know sometimes booking them and getting everything scheduled is sometimes a bit of a juggling act too. But Kathleen Ernst has come up many times. She has written a lot of books, but one of her more recent ones, it was published in 2024. It is called The Most Perilous Journey, Haneke Bauer mystery. And it is the third in a series, so we can talk about how we feel about that, but it is one of her highest rated novels. It's a 4.59 out of 5 stars. It's getting really good reviews. That might be interesting. The other author, I might not pronounce her last name correctly, but Jennifer Chiaverini,
Chiavarelli or something?
Yeah. She has also written many, many novels. And there's her most recent one is getting some good traction. It's called The Patchwork Players. It's an Elm Creek Quilts novel. It is also a number 24, but to my understanding, you don't have to read them all to understand it's not a character development with each book. And then I don't think this community is too afraid of darker stories, but Amy Peasy has one that's also getting relatively good traction called Northwoods. I don't think it should be our first choice necessarily, but it's also set in Wisconsin, which is really fun.
Question. Are we, excuse me, are we focused on Wisconsin authors, and also a book that's set in Wisconsin, or do we not care about that piece of it as much?
I think it's just kind of a bonus to have both. I like supporting the local authors, and if the setting is different, I don't know, for me, that's okay. How does the group feel?
I think, yeah.
Fine with me.
So I'll toss another name out there. Geneva Rose, Geneva, is one. I just discovered that she's from Wisconsin. She actually has you might recognize some of the covers. I'm trying to look her up on Goodreads right now. I think she's in the Milwaukee area. Yes. Excuse me. She has she writes thrillers like One of Us is Dead and Home is Where the Bodies Are.
Yes, of course I know her.
Yes, like I think a lot of people, if you see the covers, now I believe I saw that she has a new one coming out in the fall.
Okay.
It might be a horror, which might be stretching it, but we could also look to see, I don't know off the top of my head what her most recent one is. And again, knowing that she's a Wisconsin author, she might be flexible and willing to work with, maybe we read a backlist title and she's still willing to come and talk about that and talk about her other new one, or we offer both of them, or I don't know, but she's another author, I think, in line with what we did last year, that I think a lot of people might recognize the name once they saw the covers of the books, or have some, that might be a selling point.
She was also really popular on TikTok for a little while.
Yes.
So that might be a bridge, as we were talking about with the youth situation. I would also like to throw Annalise Ryan. I don't know if anyone else has read her books. They're really cute mysteries that are set in Wisconsin and deal with kind of like Wisconsin cryptids. They're cute. The first one is A Death in Door County about a Loch Ness monster sighting. It's fun. They're definitely on the lighter side. It's just this side of cozy. But I think they're fun, and she's also been super active. She was just in Stoughton a couple months ago and has demonstrated that she's willing to kind of come out and hang out with folks. So that one might be an option as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she had made my list as well. I think that's also a good choice.
Okay, so I think we have a pretty good list to kind of work through in here. So the question I have off the top of your head, not to put you on the spot, but I will, is, and not just Robin's, everyone here, if we, of the names that were kind of listed, because I noticed a lot, all of us were kind of doing quick looks, research as all of them were proposed in there. Is there one or two authors that really stood out to you that we can kind of start with and start thinking through? Or is this one of those like, we need to put our thinking cap on, maybe in the next meeting, we come back and really think through, all right, here's the top names I want to look through, and it also gives you all opportunity to think through. The thing is, I want to have a decision made no later than July, so that we can start booking them, and the process to order and ship books is, I will say, joyful at best sometimes. So we want to make sure they're here in time with ample opportunity for our community to read before the event.
I have mixed feelings because I think the thriller genre is really popular and is appealing to a lot of people, but we did just do it. So my gut would say to look into the Jennifer Chiavarini, if I'm saying that right first, like, because her books are a little bit different than what we have done in the past. She's also a very well-known author. Like, that name there's name recognition there, which I also think her books are accessible, which is what we found worked well last year with the author. But I'm not sure so my only other thought amongst all these author names is they're all women. They're all white women.
Yeah, that was going to be my.
All we've done right, and
thought,
that's who comes, and that's who reads the books, and that's who appeal. I mean, I just Googled Wisconsin male authors, and there are some, but I don't know any of the names. And
There are some, Madison Public Library has a list of Wisconsin authors, and some that I would like to kind of explore are like Barry Kwan or Ayat Akhtar, who are kind of like up and coming. They're less, they're not, their SEO isn't as quick as the Jennifers and the Genevas of the world, but it might be, that's part, my vote is to do some research and maybe not just go for like the first name on the pile, but come with like 3 next time and we can hash it out.
Okay. I can be the professor again and say, before our next meeting, please take a moment to do some research. Send me your names that you have. So this will be, I'll give you the deadline here, because in order for me to do the agenda, we'll be on the 15th of July. So if you can send me your list by Friday, July 10th, that'll give me ample time to compile it, see if there's any common names on there, note that, and put it in time for the agenda item. And the same goes for any residents who are watching this or attending on via Zoom. If you have some ideas and names regarding authors, please feel free to send it on to the library board. One of the other things that I will also probably have Monica do is do a post asking for feedback. So trying to get the community involved in there. And so hopefully that will provide some names. And my hope is then compile it all, put it together for the agenda. That will give you all ample time to, actually no, wait, backtrack. I need to have the agenda in by the 8th. Yes, because they're in the 15th. Sorry, I'm confusing my deadlines. Sorry, I'm going to bump you up an extra week. Friday, July 3rd. Sorry, that gives me the week in order to get the agenda written and then put it in. So sorry about that for confusing the dates, but July 3rd. So that's 2-ish weeks. Sound like a good plan? Okay. One other item that regards this that we haven't discussed is something to kind of think about as well is we've been blessed to have Maggie Ginsburg be our facilitator for, I don't know how many she has done, the past 2 or 2. So another thing to think about is if she's willing to do it again, we can definitely approach her. She has done an amazing job. Or if there's someone else that we want to tap to do, or I see Robin's ready to jump in. If you have other thoughts.
I was just going to say, sometimes authors have those ideas or their publisher has those ideas or somebody they work with. I know last time we talked, because sometimes these local, depending on how local of an author we find, they've been interviewed on radio stations, or sometimes somebody else locally likes to fill in that role for them when they're traveling to like the Dane County area or something like that. But that would depend on which author we get.
So then we can add that in terms of the next steps for Monica as she reaches out to these individuals to kind of think through that. If not, we do have some time to think through that, who we could possibly ask leading up to that event. Great. I feel like we have a pretty good set of next steps. Anything else you all want to add?
I just happen to be looking at the school district calendar for the same week in February. That first week in February, on Wednesday night, they have an orchestra concert, and on Thursday night, they have a band chili dinner pops concert. So there's lots of other days in February, but just whenever we pick one, let's make sure we double check that we're not conflicting.
Sounds good. Great. Moving on. So the next item we have on our agenda, and again, thank you, Robin, for joining us here for this discussion, is discuss and consider proclamation recognizing the service and leadership of Cindy Kelm Nelson. So as many of you are aware, Cindy has been instrumental in starting the library board and the precursor to this as an ad hoc committee in there, and her term has recently come to an end a couple meetings ago. And so as part of that, a couple board members have asked to do kind of a proclamation, recognition of all the hard work that she has done. So again, thank you, Megan, for helping me write this in there. And so we just want to take a moment, like previous individuals who've come through the library board, to recognize their efforts and all the accomplishments that they have done on behalf of the library board.
I move that we approve the motion as written.
Second.
Motion by Megan, second by Lisa. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Perfect. All right, moving on, programming report. So unfortunately, Monica had a family emergency come up, and so she did send me her report, so bear with me as I read through this. A couple things she wanted to highlight. Maddie Alt, who is part of Glen Grove, they met last week. They had a great discussion, and they've agreed, so Monica's agreed to help support Glen Grove residents to attend existing summer programs. To facilitate this, she will be meeting at Glen Grove every Wednesday around 2:30 to help walk you safely to Northland Shelter for the weekly Makers and Movers programs at 3. And then they will walk the youth home after the program around 3:45-ish. She has several tween volunteers to help with the Wednesday programs and the afternoon parade to and from in there. So that's a good way to kind of help support Glen Grove and the youth that are there and address the community need. She wants to highlight the Music in the Grove program is tomorrow. And so tomorrow we have, oh my goodness, I'm gonna make sure I get this name right. Tom Pease, so he'll be playing at Dublin Park tomorrow at 6 p.m. So he is a well-known family performer. So feel free to bring your lawn chairs, blankets, and the whole family for a night of music, movement, and fun. And again, this is part of the Music in the Grove series. A new story walk has been installed, was installed last week. And then a new book is slated to be installed in the second week of July. Again, Monica just wants to express how she appreciates Lisa is jumping on to help assist with things in the story walk moving forward. And so they'll use the July as that process to kind of transition over. And then Monica has the books already purchased and on hand for the July through October and the April and May 20 book exchanges in there. So we will be be good to go for the story walk moving forward. Unless, Lisa, I'm going to give a pause. Anything else you want to add regarding that?
I talked with her, and yeah, we're all set. She's going to train me in the process, and then as soon as I have it, she has some books already selected for the year, but I'll fill in the holes, and I'll present a whole year's calendar of story walks. Coming soon.
Right. And then the next thing that Monica wanted to highlight is the Jumpstart to Summer Reading, sponsored by the Friends of the Cottage Grove Library, is scheduled for this Friday, June 19th from 10 to noon at Granite Ridge School Gym. And so this is our annual kickoff to the summer reading program where we have fun activities. This time around is the Novel Motion Circus. So they have the big German wheel. And so that's the one where you see folks actually stand in it and kind of do the star. And as you get rolled around and other fun activities in there. And there will be free books, juggling crafts, among other things. So again, that is this coming Friday. So as we discussed, either last meeting or the meeting before, we are going to attempt to do a youth book swap based on how well the adult book swap went. And that is scheduled for Sunday, July 12th from 1 to 3. So we will need some volunteers, both from the community and from the library board, if possible, from 1 to 3 to help check in guests, help replenish the stock of books in there, and help with checkout. So 2 to 3 hours, or 2 to 3 volunteers per hour will be great. We will be sending out a link for signups if you are able to volunteer during that date. If not, please save it, or if so, please save that date. Monica has a comment in here about the virtual lunch and learn attendance has been waning. The last one, I don't think we had anyone able to attend, or anyone attended that one. So she just want to have open up for kind of thoughts about that. Probably for our next meeting, we can definitely bring that in there. But one of the things this is me and my personal comments in here will stress is that these virtual lunch and learns are recorded. They're on YouTube. So they are part of our library moving forward. And so even if attendance is not ideal, is what I'll say, in there, it's still worthwhile and useful in terms of our overall programming and what we can do with it moving forward. So before I move on, do you all have initial thoughts on the virtual lunch and learns?
I didn't know it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to find more ways that we can promote them, especially and with specific, they're listed on the calendar, which is great. People can block that off, but without a specific topic that tells them who they're listening to or what they're learning about, they're not going to prioritize it. And I do agree with you that we could then be using them more often. It could be another thing that we just toss up once a week or once a month on the Facebook page of, here's a link to a lunch and learn from a couple years ago where we talked to so-and-so about this topic. If you missed it the first time, here it is, it's available. I do think also that we can help as a board more come up with some ideas of topics or people, network connections that we have throughout Dane County and whatnot. What's nice, obviously, is that they're virtual, so it doesn't even have to be someone in Dane County. If they're willing to, if it's an expert that we know of that lives somewhere else, we can probably be flexible and, see if they're able to Zoom in from Bangladesh or where, I don't know. I don't know anybody there, but.
Okay. Again, if you have any thoughts, feel free to communicate that with Monica as well. And then her last item that she has in her report was she met with Vicki Krause in Deanna with the Cottage Grove Historical Society on May 28th. They had a great conversation about how to best support the respective organizations moving forward. The plan is to design and present a program on farming in Cottage Grove here on July 29th. And so one of the things that when Monica was talking to me about this is the Cottage Grove Historical Society has a breadth and depth of documents and things and kind of experts that they can speak on about the history within the greater Cottage Grove area, not just the village, but the town. And leveraging that expertise in different events in a collaboration could be definitely beneficial. We've seen some pretty good attendance in those events. And so very much is going to be a collaboration moving forward. In addition, working with them and their board, they'll be working together to better stagger and coordinate the Badger Talks. Because again, we can leverage our couple opportunities for the Badger Talks, and then they, as a separate entity, can coordinate a couple of Badger Talks so that the larger community will have access to some highly engaging, beneficial, and speakers and experts within our state here.
I'm sorry, JP, can you repeat the date that's going to be?
It will be on July 29th. So it's farming in Cottage Grove. So that is her programming report in there. So on here, one of the topics we also were hoping to discuss and have more detailed conversation about was ideas for fall programming and specifically the tween conversations, potential topics in there. And so with the we have the tween scene that's going in there, but was there anything else we wanted to add into that? In fall programming, what does that sequence look like? Do we want to continue some of the same programs? Do we want to pull back? What are opportunities we want to start exploring as we need to start building out and planning that fall programming?
Well, I really like Allie's idea of some kind of middle grade YA book-focused thing for kids and families, I will say the Monona Public Library this summer is doing a graphic novel book club for tweens, and a bunch of us signed our kids up, and they had their first meeting a week ago, and obviously the library has the books that they can check out, so that's a different challenge we might have. But there were like 10 kids in the room. They read the book. I think they talked about it for like 15 minutes, and then they did some different craft projects with it. Obviously, a graphic novel is a much lower lift as well, which I think is what's probably appealing for kids. I think the fact that it's in the summer is also ideal, so I don't know that this would work as well in the fall or during the school year, but it just was a thing that I saw that worked elsewhere that I don't know if we can modify it or just take that as a leaping off point maybe.
I really like the idea of a graphic novel club. I think they've had kind of a resurgence in recent years, and it gets kids that maybe aren't as into or have struggles with reading. Like my niece is dyslexic, and graphic novels are usually produced in such a way that the font is much clearer. She can handle, there's other context clues to help her with the story. So it'd be a lot more inclusive. And I also think that's you're going to get better buy-in from busy kids if they can do a graphic novel in the fall, if instead of adding to their now schoolwork or something. And I don't know, I think it would be, just from like a librarian perspective, I would love to see more adults appreciating the art and talent and time that goes into graphic novels. I think that people kind of dismiss them as, oh, that's cartoons, that's pictures, and that's not necessarily the case. There's still pretty amazing, complex and interesting stories that are being told through that medium, and sometimes it's a little easier to broach kind of potentially difficult topics in a cartoon form. I think of Mouse, the really controversial one, right? But it's kind of allows us a way to form a connection about a pretty serious topic without, dropping a history tome in front of an 8-year-old, in a way that's engaging and asking them to think, outside themselves a little bit. So I really like it. I think that's awesome that you had that many people show up, and what did your family?
My 10-year-old really liked it. I mean, again, she sat down and read the book in an hour.
Sure, yeah.
Ish, which again, that's what they want to commit to probably. And she said, she'd never been to a book club before where they really discuss the book for a little bit. And I'm sure it wasn't I didn't stay for it. I didn't hear the discussion, but just building that little idea of, 7 or 8 of them that have read the same book, and they talk about it, and, well, what did you like about it? This is what I didn't like. It reminded me of this book. It's not super in-depth conversation probably, but, my other thought too is that, like, if we could find ways to leverage and partner with the school, especially GRS, 3rd through 5th grade, even the middle school, to help promote it, possibly partner with them to get copies of the books. I will say the Monona Library too, that they're doing throughout the summer, you had to register for it. Like, it's not available for 45 kids to come to. So that could be a piece that we have to consider as well, especially if we just try one and see how it goes, or I don't know. But I do think the topic or the format is something that really lends itself well to kids for all of the reasons that Sarah just said. And it's something that we haven't tried yet, and it seems obviously library literacy focused.
Great.
Sorry, did you want other like fall programming ideas, or we just focused on tween stuff or teen stuff?
So right now, let's discuss the.
I know
tween-
Monica isn't here for
Yeah, I
the
know,
discussion, so that's kind of,
the one challenge in there. So right now, I guess, let me rephrase. At this point, if you have any ideas that we can kind of note and pass on to Monica for, I would say, our next meeting of a more full discussion in there. Again, I don't want to go much beyond July because we need to be ready to go for the fall, have a schedule in there. And considering that, again, she had a family, I don't think I said this, so sorry. She had a family emergency, was not able to attend here today. And so kind of thinking on my feet here as we pivoted through this. So I would say these are items that if you have any additional thoughts, feel free to share them now so that we can pass them on to Monica as part of the direction for her to start thinking about the fall moving forward. But if not, we will revisit these topics here in our July meeting. So, last call for any thoughts. Great. The other thing I did not mention is the program tracker is attached as an agenda item. Again, you can see that we've had continual strong attendance along the same lines as we've had in the past. And one thing just I want to pull out and highlight here is that to date, we have had over 2,200 people attend a library program. So we've had, let me rephrase that, over 2,200 attendees to library programs. So overall, about roughly halfway through the year, that puts us, actually, I think ahead of last year where we were. And so we're on track for highest attendance at our library events here so far. Again, also recognizing that summer and some other times can be a little bit slower as we pick up in there. So, but no, overall, I just want to recognize that we're looking pretty strong in some of the events we've had some really good attendance at. So with that, moving on to our next item is consider the approval of the vouchers, and the operating expenses, non-payroll is attached to the agenda.
I move that we approve the operating expenses vouchers.
I second.
All right. Motion by Megan, second by Sarah. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Last little bits here, library board correspondence updates. So one of the things that I am continuing to connect with is regarding the book drop. So I have an email chain going with the director of Dane County Library Services. We're just trying to schedule a meeting here, hopefully for next week. So I'll have hopefully more information about what the book drop, what it means, all the fun details for you all for our next meeting. Additionally, a couple of village board members, shifting to the village board updates, met with Habitat for Humanity, and there's lots of, they've expressed an interest in helping do a presentation, talking about all things housing and opportunities and a few other things in there. And so one of the conversation parts that we'll be having is that a potential lunch and learn topic in here as well, and they expressed an interest in doing that. So with that, moving on, our next library board meeting is on Wednesday, July 15th at 6 p.m. I do want to call out that one. We'll have a hard stop before 7 because Plan Commission will be coming in right after. So that one we have to be done really, I would say by 6:45 is try to aim in there. Give a little bit of time. We have a little wiggle room, but hard stop by 7 for that transition in there. So an FYI on that. Besides my update on the book drop, are there any other future agenda items that y'all can think of?
Just, we have right now 2 different things that we're scheduled to discuss at that next meeting. That might be, we might want to be starting an email chain or something so that we can get a little bit ahead, just with that time frame in mind.
While here on that, unfortunately, just want to remind you all about public meetings and
Sure.
that we can't really have email chains in there as well. So that does create an open records challenge in there. And so because of that, again, we'll just be very cognizant of the timing of that. So it's very important that you all come prepared and have some thoughts so that we can hopefully make speedy decisions. But at the same time, I am not overly concerned based on what I'm seeing for the agenda in there, that I think we'll have plenty of time to have those discussions, but I appreciate the thoughts. Okay. Any other agenda items? Hearing none. Item 12.
I make a motion for adjournment.
Second?
Motion by Megan, second by Lisa. Non-debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Recording stopped.
So with that, as I said in the email leading up to this, Cindy, as you try to hide or walk away. No. So again, we wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much, Cindy. I know you read the kind of resolution out there already, so that's only one sliver of all the things that we have said, or can say at this point.